Okay, go ahead.
So I think last time you mentioned that the journey begins from point two.
Right.
So um, I was under the assumption that it begins from the heart to point one.
Yes.
If so, why? I mean, isn't that one to two a journey as well?
Suppose you are flying to New York from Atlanta. You live in Atlanta, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're flying from, so if you ask, like, what is your starting point and ending point, you don't say I'm starting from my home. You'll say I'm going from Atlanta to New York.
Mm-hmm.
But you do have to reach airport from your home. So your journey technically begins from your home.
So one is home. Okay.
So one is your home. So from there, you begin your journey to the point two where you take off. So your takeoff point is two.
Mm-hmm.
So that because you are flying, you say, okay, I'm starting from Atlanta airport to the New York airport. It's like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But your home point is always there. In fact, in one of the very, the Babuji kind of mentioned that in spite of you travel through all your points, the mergence only happens in the heart region, the final mergence.
Mm-hmm.
So it's your home point.
Okay.
That's your basis of your existence is your heart. And that's why we meditate on the heart, because that's your base.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So as a practice, how do you meditate? We meditate on the heart. Why not on the final point, 13th point?
Mm.
Because so when you affect the base, it impacts, your journey all throughout. It percolates.
Mm-hmm.
So it is like becoming. So it is, I mean, even becoming seems like a process, correct? But we are already that. So when I'm already that, it is just the recognition of that being. See, when you go into a deep sleep, when you wake up, you become aware of yourself. Oh, I am Yogesh. I just woke up, right? I mean, you don't have to say that, but you almost become aware of yourself. When you become aware of yourself, you are that being. So the awareness is the being, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is what this being and becoming really means from a spiritual journey aspect. So I am at second point, but you are already at second point. You are already at third point. You're just recognizing it. You're becoming aware of it. The moment you become aware of it, you are that. That's what the revelation also means. Revelation is not something finding some new information, right? It's not about finding new information. It is about recognizing your being, your state of being at that level,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Okay. So I think we have pretty much the whole quorum. So let's start reading from where we left off. Entering the second chakra. So last week we talked about why there is restlessness and the paradox of peace. Where we are looking for peace, we are moving towards the peace, and it is creating the restless. Why? Because now you cannot stay where you are in this journey, once you know it, once you recognize that condition, the inner essence, you want to become one with it. Until you become one with it, you cannot rest. So it sorts of, there is peace of the point, second chakra, but at the same time, there is a restlessness to merge with it. But at the same time, there is a resistance also. In fact, in our Tuesday session, I was talking about it. The resistance is twofold. Because today, what I am, so if I ask myself, who am I? This question comes up in many uh, discussions, with other systems. Who am I? Who am I? You cannot find the real you. You're always basically identifying yourself with what you are, whether I am a male or female, whether I am educated or uneducated, or my social status, my financial status, my physical status, my national status. So all these are our identities. Now, all that we are doing in this existence, in this experiential life, is we are trying to protect the identities we have created as we grow. Correct? If you observe the toddlers, they sort of identify themselves as a third person. That's why they have to say their name. He'll say like, my son Rahul, we used to call him Yayu when he was a baby. See, so he calls himself Yayu. He says, Yayu likes this chocolate. Yayu like this ice cream. See, they are like identifying themselves as a third person. But slowly they recognize it is their name. Once they start recognizing their name, then it becomes I. I like ice cream. I like chocolate. I want this. I want. So now you are trying to protect your identity. Slowly, every identity you form as you grow, you're trying to protect it. So what meditation is doing is it makes you lose that identity. Because now you're identifying with something much profound, much deeper. So there is a restlessness to reach that identity, the new identity. At the same time, there is a resistance not to let go my current identities. So you cannot have both at the same time. You cannot hold two identities at the same time. So that's why it's very difficult to let go of this identity, which we have created very dearly all our life. So there is a resistance. So you understand why there is a resistance for spiritual progress is because the inner nature, the ego, wants to protect its identity. Right? So it's a similar, okay, so the most common sign of inner resistance is that you don't feel like meditate. So sometimes when this happens, because now there is a shift in the consciousness and they automatically create certain resistance. So that's when you go and meditate more, clean more, take sittings from the trainers, prefects, preceptors, whatever you call it, right? So that's how it goes. Now, let's talk about the conditions experienced at second chakra. The key experience at this chakra is varying flavors of peace tinged with restlessness. While you enjoy the peace, the idea of peace giver starts taking root. So you want to meet the peace giver, and your devotion takes on a new dimension where restlessness to meet the peace giver grows. So here, peace giver again See, our human fallacy, human drawback is we want to identify everything from an existential context, right? So sometimes you can loosely translate this peace giver as the guru, the teacher of the system. That's one way of looking at it. But the second way of looking at it, this peace giver is never devoid of you, your own inner essence. Now, when you start connecting with it, now it becomes more and more evident. But to make it more and more evident, that which cannot be felt, that which cannot be seen, that which cannot be experienced, how do you recognize that peace giver? It is because the teacher who is transmitting makes it evident for you. Otherwise, without the transmission, this thing can never become evident. You can never say that's a peace giver. And then your peace giver becomes a mere projection rather than a reality. But heartfulness, a true spiritual system, does not like you to live in projections, mental projections. Mental projections, always there is a deception behind every projection. We don't want that. So that's why once you recognize this, the person, the which is making it evident, there is certain gratitude develops, certain reverence develops. And the more and more reverence you develop towards it, the inner condition and the condition of the teacher are the same. You recognize that. So you want to be absorbed into it completely, totally. That's when the craving or the restlessness begins. When it begins, let it grow. Because now there is a need created. See, spirituality is all about fulfilling that need. The problem, we many times face is because we don't practice as it should be practiced. We never recognize this inner need. And that's why, the whole effort becomes, the time we spend becomes sort of a futile effort. Reason, we are not giving the right attention which it requires. We don't have to let go anything in our life for this attention to be created. Okay. So that's why it's important to understand, recognize, and work towards it. Okay. So I'll stop here for any questions before I go into the further reading or comments, observations. All right. So once you settle down at the second chakra, the second point, you may experience a newer expression of consciousness. Like I said, any experience of shift in the consciousness, once you feel the shift, then it becomes your normal state. So that's why these shifts, you have to catch it when it's happening. So the quality of space element, nothingness, can manifest in feelings of wanting and needing nothing. Free from mundane demands, you may become forgetful or carefree, or experience a loss of ambition that may make your family members or even you wonder what's going on. So this thing needs to be understood little, this requires certain explanation. So what if I'm losing ambitions in my life? Then, it's a big problem, correct? So someone asked me, give me 3 priorities in life. So I gave him 4 priorities. The first priority in life is financial stability. You must work for it. You cannot let go the financial stability. Even Babaji said that. Once Chariji wants to leave his job, he said, if you don't have money to have your, survival, you cannot have spirituality. See, in a traditional sense, to have spirituality, you have to let go everything. But in a real sense, you have to have certain balance in life. So that starts with your financial stability, which is very important. And the second is minimum or fairly good health, required good health for us to practice meditation. And the third, harmony within the family, which is another. If there is no harmony in the family, it's very difficult to have the right set of mind to meditate. That is the important thing. And the fourth is following the system as prescribed and continue doing your meditation or spiritual practice. So that's the fourth. So you know how the priorities stand, right? So if I don't have ambitions in life, how will I grow? I mean, you can twist it, oh, we should not have ambitions, we should have aspirations. It's just the play of words. There is no real meat in it, okay? So I must have some yearning to grow materially also, right? So then what if my ambitions are lost? So here, lot of times ambitions, we the kind of ambitions we talk about are just dreams. We never work or act on those dreams. So they are very superficial. When that superficiality is gone, you have a clarity of the mind and how to mold your life in which direction you want to take it. So here the ambition is not like a, you know, quote unquote ambition, but certain, dreams where you're not acting on it, those will drop. So now you have to really think of the right ambition and work towards it, right? So, but don't worry, this is a normal and temporary adjustment period as your consciousness adapts to the inner peace that's developing. In fact, it's a positive sign of inner change taking place. So, unfortunately, many people misread this phase to stop meditation, worried that they are losing their edge. On the contrary, your resilience is growing. The calmness and peace of the second chakra help you to take things in stride. You make decisions with the right mind or cool mind. Taunts, rebukes, and criticism from others flow by like water droplets on the windshield. As your inner peace grows, call on your devotion and continue your meditation practice. Why? Because now your ego has identified itself with something much profound. So that profound ego cannot be hurt very easily by somebody criticizing or saying something, right? So it is very, very important to recognize this identity, realize this new identity, and work with it, and also bring balance into all the three aspects of material life. Three aspects of material life is your financial stability, your health stability, and the stability in the family. So we must work towards it. Nothing comes easy, right? So we will talk about ethereal feelings and experiences in our next session. I'll stop here for any observations, comments? Otherwise, we can get into meditation. So, Yogesh, can I request you to give meditation today?
Sure, brother.
Yeah. Okay, I'll stop recording.